Hello everyone, happy new moon, happy February 17, the day we have been we've all been waiting for so long. And what's the big deal, right? What's the difference of February 17 and the year of the horse and a new moon? About 4 years ago, I had no idea what a new moon was. I had no idea what a new moon even meant or what it was about. Kind of used to be into astrology, not really my thing, but what really got me to tune in was the full moon, just like everyone else, right? That's what we can see. And I started to tune into the full moon, and I started to connect with the healing parts of what the full moon was bringing to me, because that's what I was really able to feel. And this was a time when I was extremely depressed, very depressed, anxious, all the things. I was fully in my traumas. I was fully in my shadows. I was fully in the false version of me that had been created, and was really unhappy. And there were parts of me that were happy. I mean, everybody that knew me knew that I was a happy person. I used to laugh. I used to always bring out the best in people. It's always been me. But inside, deep down, there was always this darkness. There was always this discomfort. There was always this other voices that would take over. And my intention at the time was really to heal my mental health, because my grandmother had passed away from just years and years of mental health issues. And I grew up around it, and I was creating it all around because I would see it everywhere. There was sick people everywhere. There was unhappy people everywhere. And although I was a very happy person, all this unhappiness really used to bring me down. It wasn't until I had my son. I was still a nurse at the hospital, at Bethesda Hospital at the time, and I gave birth at Bethesda Hospital, so my son was born there. And it was just a really bad experience overall. Like a really the worst experience I could have imagined, except I have to change that story because he's alive, right? How could that be a bad experience if he's alive? But it felt really wrong in my body. Everything that happened, everything that I asked for was not delivered, and a lot of bad side effects happened because of it. So it was just a really unnatural way to give birth, the way that it happened. But also, not only was it unnatural, I received certain type of medications that were really further numbing my voice and further numbing the way that I was feeling and being able to ask for help and receive the help. And again, these were all these energies that I had inside of me that were just not happy. They were just not happy. So how could I create something happy? Because I had a lot of fear. I had a lot of fear giving birth. I had a lot of fear to even have a son. And part of that fear was to have a child with the wrong person. With the wrong person means that the person I'm not going to be with for the rest of my life, in a happy relationship, in a loving relationship. And I really fear that, and boy, did that come true. So I'm here to talk about how our fears can come true, and also we can make our dreams come true. So fast forward 4 years later, well, 7 years later, really. Fast forward 7 years later, And the way that I look at the moon is completely different. Completely different. Because the full moon has to start with a new moon. And this happens every 29 days or so. So there's this full cycle that goes on and on and on every 29 days. You know, we want to say every month, but it's every 29 days. There's 13 lunar cycles in 1 year. And that would be 12 months. So 13 lunar cycles in 12 months. So yeah, it's not the same. It's not the calendar that we're used to, but it is something that energetically we can tune into if we are aware of it. So the lunar cycle program was birthed when I realized that the moon was bringing me awareness. It was bringing me awareness of how I was feeling, of who I was, of where I was in my journey, how I felt. And this awareness, with this awareness, I was able to tap into my truth and also be able to tap into higher consciousness and higher consciousness. Now, that's one medicine that I found, and the moon really continued to deliver all of this wisdom. And I continue to listen. I continue to tap in and meditate and listen to myself and listen to my body. So fast forward 7 years now, the moon has really helped me embody myself, embody my energy, embody my power. It's the best way to say it, embody my power. Because when I am able to be intentional about the things that I want and be able to recognize how my body reacts to these things that I want and need and want to create, I can learn to see the type of energy that I am channeling, that I am creating with. So this took a really long time to come to this awareness. And for what it's worth, I've been able to help myself overcome a lot of the mental health issues that I had, and not in the way that I was being told to do it, because that's not the way that I resonated with. That's not the way that my soul wanted me to come into the awareness of my truth. Also, this was a way to really tune into the power within myself, not so much outside, but it was a sign, it was a symbol, it was a outside clock, an outside energy that I could see from within and outside of me. And it's been really, really incredibly helpful in healing myself from so much disease, so much illness, so much toxicity that I had accumulated over years and years and years. I mean, I'm 37 years old now, so I started this awareness 7 years ago. So for 30 years, I was at the mercy of the world that I knew, the world that I grew up in, the world that I was following, right? And what the lunar cycle program has helped me do has been to tune back in to the truth of my soul, to the beginning of my soul, to the truth of who I am, to the truth of who I've been. And I've learned that my soul is really old, really, really ancient, really, really ancient. And there are parts of my journey, my soul's journey, that wanted to be experienced in this lifetime. And clearly I had been trying for a long time, long time. But this time I gave birth to a beautiful human that I'm still trying to figure out what contract we created before, but it's not a coincidence that being able to birth someone so pure and so good and so clean and so new really helped remind me of what it was to be reborn, rebirth, to grow from zero to human, from an egg to a human. You know, I was there with this whole transformation, and I was there with this whole transition while he was inside of me, when he was outside of me. It's just been an incredible journey to experience that. And also, it's been very painful to experience detachment from the pain and the sorrow and the toxicity that is also exist in this world, because of course I don't want that for him. Of course I don't want that for me either. And of course I don't want that for anybody. And what the Lunar Cycle program has turned into has been not just a way to heal mental health, but a way to really come back to our original clean, crystalline, pure version of us that has all of these birthrights and has all these gifts and has all this power given to us by birth as the children of God. So it's so powerful. It's so powerful. This has nothing to do with religion, by the way. Absolutely nothing to do with religion, and everything to do with energy and who we are and what we came here to be. And this is just my story. You can have your own story, and everybody has their own journey, and everybody's here to experience such journey. However, we are experiencing things and living based on the outside world too much and not enough from the inside. And that is how we create. Because if we're only creating from the past, if we're only creating from what's already available, then for one, we can create that. That's okay. If we choose to see the magnificence of it. But if we don't like it, that's not something that we need to create. Those energies of that things that we don't agree with, that we don't like, we get to choose differently. That's why we have free will. And that is the power of being human, and that is the power of being able to tune back into ourselves through meditation, through intention. And really, I learned that we can't do that unless we have a clean vessel. And we have our energy centers open. We have to be open and be able to flow with that energy. Otherwise, the energy gets stuck in different parts of our body, which essentially doesn't matter how old you are. If you haven't opened your energy centers and you haven't evolved in consciousness, you can be 90 years old and still behaving in the consciousness of a child that hasn't really developed much awareness of who they are, no matter how old you are. On the other side of that, no matter how old you are, you can still tap into your highest potential, and you can still tap into your highest truth, your the most exquisite way to feel, the most exquisite way to be. And luckily, we live in a world where everything's available to us, the good and the bad. And part of what I aim to create with the Lunar Cycle program is paradise on earth. Paradise for myself, for my son, for the new generation, and for everybody that wants to come and join along. Paradise to me is a balanced world of the things that we like and the things that we don't like, and then we find a happy medium. We find something to bring it together where it has balance and meaning and purpose, because everything that God has given us has meaning and purpose, and it's what we choose to do with it that matters. Everything is medicine. Everything is medicine for us to be, to experience, to live, to create the most incredible timeline and life that we came here to create. So if you've been living in a world where you're not really happy, you don't really, you're anxious all the time, you're not enough, you experience too much anger, too much jealousy, way too much fear, that's the energy that you're tapping into, and you're not able to elevate that energy into a higher vibration, into a higher consciousness. And there's a way to do that. There's a way to know where your energy is stuck in your body and tend to it. Tend to yourself. Tend to your needs. One of the most powerful things that I have learned, that the earth provides everything that we need. And if we're not co-creating with the earth, we're co-creating against it. Okay, this is where we live. This is the body that we live. If we're not co-creating with our body, we're co-creating against it. Just think about that. Why would you want to do that? We want to be our own allies. We want to be the best creators that we could be. We want to be in our power. We want to remember our power. We can handle our power if we embody it little by little every day, if we get used to it little by little every day. And I have a long way ahead of me, which for a very, very long time, that was not the case. That was not my perception of life. My perception of life was, God, can we end this already? Can this life be over already? How much longer do I have to do this for? How much longer? And there's still days that I feel that, even up until recently. But those are energies that don't belong in our vessel as our highest vibration, as our highest timeline, as our highest self. The higher self does not need to feel that. We get to choose what energy we entertain. We let enter, and then we let guide our focus. Not something that's talked about enough at all. The most important thing that guides our day and our life and everything that we create. If we're not creating our day with intention, we're creating our day from our subconscious. And if it's being created by our subconscious, it's kind of being ruled by programming that is not in our control. So we feel out of control. Why are things happening? Well, I didn't create that. Well, you kind of did, and you kind of didn't. But you also can create better, and you also can be a little more intentional about your day and about what you want in life. So being that we're on the new moon, and being that most people don't know why there's a new moon, and can we just get to the full moon? Yeah, that's how we look at our dreams. That's how we look at our goals. Can I just have what I want already? Yeah, actually, you could live in a world like that too. But because there's so many obstacles in the way, there's so many things that need to be in alignment first, that's part of the journey. So then we spend our entire life creating out of alignment and thinking, why are we not getting what we want and need all the time? So the first thing is to be in alignment. To be in alignment, we have to come back to alignment, right? Come back to the center, come back to the heart. And the heart is all the way up here. our energy center starts all the way at the bottom, all the way from our tippy toes, okay? And then that energy has to flow upwards. And if we are blocked, it's not going to get to the heart. That's where most humans live, completely blocked from their heart center. Our power is blocked. Our power has been dimmed. You can't create powerful things because you're not really creating with intention from your power. You're creating from your mind, you're creating from your past, you're creating from your fears, you're creating from doubt, you're creating from jealousy, you're creating from the thoughts and the mindsets that you're not enough. I did this for a long time, I know. And part of the Lunar Cycle program is to continue to stay in awareness that this can still happen. This can still come up. And of course, I can navigate that a lot easier now because I can tap into something and be like, that's not mine. That doesn't serve me. However, how can I make it serve me? And how can I release it with love so that it can come back to me in the energy that I want? So, if you're going through a hard time in life, especially if you're going through a hard time in your business or with children, we are important. And what really brings up that awareness of how important we are is the children. Seeing the children is a remembering of how we grew up and how we want to do things differently. And of course, we want to love our childhood. We want to love what our parents did for us. But true love comes from the awareness that we're here to do better. We're here to create better. And I would expect my son to do better than me. I would expect my son to want to have a better life than me, to have an easier life than me, to not have the traumas that I would want that for him. I would want that for myself too. And I would want that for everybody. Because once you have that awareness that life could be better, that's wisdom. We step into that awareness and we do better. So when we create on the new moon an intention, we follow that intention every day. We're reminded of that intention every day. And by the full moon, we're able to see the things that get in the way of that intention, that get in the way of blocking that intention from actualizing. Now, there will come a time where you create an intention and you see it come to life on that very same day, on that very moment. And that's the power of who we are as humans, to be able to manifest our dreams and our desires at a snap of a finger. And that's part of the power that has been forgotten. And also, there are certain things that require a perfect alignment to receive what we want in the best energy possible, in the best energy that we can experience it. So once you've experienced fear, doubt, anger, jealousy, and you're like, you know what, I don't really like it. I don't really like feeling that anymore. I like this energy. I like the gratitude. I like the love. I like the freedom. I like the pleasure. I like the reciprocity. I like the courageous me. I like the empowered me. I like the motivated me. When you learn that that's what you like, you're still going to feel the fear, you're still going to feel the anger, you're still going to feel the doubt, and you're going to use it to access that higher energy. You're going to use it to transform your day and your life and your mindset and your wishes and your creation into the better energy that you're actually enjoying and wanting to be in. And we can all do this. We are all capable of doing this. And this is some of the things that we have forgotten and we can remember. And the Lunar Cycle Program helps us remember this really, really, really fast, while also creating, while also learning about our own selves and our own power and our own fears. And that's okay too. But I want to invite you to a private container where you can express these things, where you can explore these things, where you can get to know yourself, get to connect with yourself better, and go through your own journey with guidance of where you're wanting to be, where you are and where you're wanting to be. This is the year to do it. Today is the day to do it. Today is a day to step forward and say I do to yourself. Your children are watching. The world is watching. Your higher self is waiting to be embodied so that you can feel, not just watch, feel who you are, so that you can experience the magic of your own creation, so that you can experience the magic of who you are. And it will be an honor to guide you through it. So if this resonates, reach out to me privately. There are some things that we need to discuss before we can work together, but you can reach your dreams, no matter how wild and crazy they are. And if you are meant to be a leader of the new earth, of the new world, of your house, of your business, and you want to lead with love, but you just don't know how. You want to lead with empowerment. You want to lead from a higher version of you, and you want to do this fast. That's what I'm here for. So reach out and let's go create the most amazing life you came here to live.